What I've done to start today, though, is I've disrupted my core. I want to show you a couple of things. Because when you're working with students, if I set up here, I'm not on any number, my hips are very square. You'll notice that. But if I stand looking face on, and the placement of this bar below the hip line is critical. If I take these cards, hips are square, and I just relax, you'll notice that the card in my left hand, this one, shows less white than this one. So I am a lower core player. You're going to see in your lower core players much more hip rotation and much more internal rotation of the hand. So looking face on, you can see, although I'm standing here and my hips are square, I'm doing that purposely. So you'll notice with your students, they're going to be tense when they come out. We've talked about this before, and I hear it a lot, especially with your upper core player. I'm not seeing any difference. So I'm looking down. I'm not holding a lot of tension. Doesn't take a lot for me. But if I take a deep breath, exhale, and just get relaxed, now you'll see the true rotation of my hips here. So this is, and now you'll continue to see the internal rotation of the hands. Now, the other thing you'll see anytime you see a right shoulder lower and a left hip higher, as you're seeing in me now, look straight on. My right shoulder's down. You're going to see if I put my thumbs on the hip bones, it's called anterior iliac crest. If I put them here and you look straight on, you just have your student put their hands behind them, thumbs on their hip bone, you'll notice one is higher. Anytime the right is higher, the right shoulder will be lower. That's telling you they're going to have an open hip line. This, when you're testing for dominant core, that doesn't matter. You're not going to see this change. You're not going to see these positions change until after the exercise. Okay. The other thing you'll notice is, and this, I think your students will find it interesting, when you have this configuration, right shoulder lower, right hip higher, hips open, and they add knee flex, if I look down, just glancing over, my left knee is right over the center of my left foot. However, my right knee is called pronation, turned inward. That is huge in terms of knee injuries and structural changes that predispose somebody to knee pain or injury. And the other things you'll find, did this for years, you'll find that if I am here, I have freedom of motion to my left laterally. But I'm stuck when I try and go to the right. Knee pronation is part of what's creating that restriction. But you can test this on yourselves. Okay, and we have what we called for years the box test. So if I'm relaxed, I close my eyes and I squat, you'll find the ability to squat. You'll notice that if I'm going to pick up something, look how far to my left I'm rotating. That's where back injuries come from, by the way, this torquing. That's because of my rotation of my hips. Where I'd ideally like to be is here, but I can't go down any further. When I relax to pick up something now. So these are factors that you're not going to be using when you're teaching golf. I understand that. But they're factors that it's a misalignment of the kinetic chain and factors that are going to lead to pain and injury. So injury in particular, we've known for years that bending and twisting, which is a natural process, can lead to a herniation of the disc. So you can get some pretty serious, bending over and picking up a pencil. It can even happen with this bending and twisting. So it's not so much the weight as it is the movement and the misalignment in the kinetic chain. All right. So today, what I'd like for you to do is take a piece of tape. You can either take a small piece or you can take a large piece. I'm gonna use a small piece. If you have the larger ones, just tear them in half, because you're just gonna need a very small piece of tape. And I've marked both hands the same way. You'll notice on my little finger, here is upper, red is upper, black is middle, blue is lower. And I've done the same thing here. And you'll notice I've done it on the middle finger because these are going to be the important power spots for grip. So I am going to tape. We used to refer to this as taping the fingernail. But you'll notice that here is my lower core power spot. There is the joint just above that lower core power spot. I'm going to tape behind the fingernail all the way around on that little finger. So that's what it looks like. Okay, so please do that. And now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, on the other hand. Now I'm doing it doesn't matter what finger. It does not matter what finger. And I'm going to put, again, you do not want to get into the lower core power spot, which is here. You see my fingernail, and I'm simply taping around that. It's a pad. It's actually the third pad up from the palm. So the third pad up from the palm, back side of the nail, it goes all the way around. Okay, so I put the bar on. Now I know in our other sessions, I know that what my lower, I just want to show you here first, that does not change my hip rotation. And my grip is going to change by stance width. So if you watch my hands, so watch how much of my, you can see a lot of white card over here, have a rotation here. If I change my stance width, you'll see my grip just change. So you'll see a little bit more white here. And this is important. This is why players at different stance widths, when they get their grip, it changes. I get wider, it comes back in even more. Now it's back out. Now it's back in. What I'm talking about is the rotation of this card. So just know that with stance width change, you're going to get a change in the amount of rotation. And that's simply part of the disruption of the kinematic chain. So I have those two spots taped. Now I'm going to take the top piece here, and I'm going to place it. I know my dominant core zone is lower. We've been through how to test this. So I'm going to put it on the blue. So I have tape around that pad. This is what it looks like now. I've covered a lower core power spot, my dominant zone, and the pad on top. Now what you'll see is that my hips are absolutely square, no matter where I go. And if you look at me, this is only on the rotational plane, by the way, transverse rotational plane. And you'll notice now that the cards are going to be the same no matter where I go. Okay. However, if I were to apply pressure to the lower core power spot here on this, so I have the lower core power spot there, or if I simply apply it here on the middle finger, let's say I were going to grip the club. Now I'm good. As soon as I apply lower core power spot here, my hips rotate. So putting it on two lower core power spots does not work. It only works to find the dominant zone when you press here and here. So once I have the dominant zone, I can find, I know I'm blue. My hips rotate here on blue 1, which is 12 inches. I go to blue 2, 18 inches, and I square up. So this is my dominant subregion. So when you're first working with your students, you want them to do the exercise on their dominant subregion.